I called it. That's all I'm gonna say. I called it. Okay. If you go back, rewind the tape to last week, I called it both on my show and on Nerd Fights. La'an and Spock are becoming a thing. And my only question is, I don't know why this show feels so like it has to deal with Spock's relationship stuff. I normally wouldn't have a problem with it other than the fact that it is now becoming a thing. And I think it's almost becoming too much of a thing. Let's get into it. What's up, my know-it-alls? All right, we're talking about Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. The new episode dropped, and it's a fun episode. Okay, the basic premise is they're going to investigate a thing. The thing is literally unimportant. It's a flare. It's honestly, the space sci-fi part of it is literally there to just give us a ticking time clock later in the episode. So it's a complete contrivance. It's fine. All of this attack is going to mark down the rating for me, and you'll see why in a minute. It isn't a bad episode, by the way. What they do well. But let's get back to the thing I teased in the very beginning. Spock and La'an checks in on Spock. She's going to be doing some stuff, and he apparently has decided to do dancing instead of his normal morning calisthenics, and she joins him for a moment, and they have a moment. It's a no-brainer. I mean, I literally called this last week. And so then she gets called down by Pike, and she is being asked to test a new piece of technology.
Now, the device we're going to be testing is called the Recreation Room.
Holodeck, for short. Sounds better.
Starfleet wants to test if these new recreational, whatever the heck, blah, blah, blahs, holodecks, are worth having posted on ships. And it gives Scotty an opportunity to, the whole thing with Scotty, he's working with her. Plea is on shore leave because we have to get that actress out to begin to slowly push Scotty in. He has to learn and become and whatever else. So we're seeing a lot of Scotty evolution this season. But back to the main crux of the problem. We have holodeck technology. Not just any holodeck technology, advanced holodeck technology. Like holodeck technology as if from TNG. Now, fans of the shows are going to be like, well, this is an anachronism, this is horrible, why would they have this and that and the other? They try to claim that it's for the sake of being able to, like, we're testing out and this, and we're going to find out the limitations of, and all that stuff, which is fine. The problem is, it looks exactly like the holodeck technology from Next Generation.
Spock, I thought you'd finished running diagnostics.
I wanted to ensure the computer system is functioning at normal parameters.
It's not like in early stages. It isn't set up like, I mean, even if it looked a little bit like Voyagers or something where it was like framework or something, I don't know, something more rudimentary, but no, it's a black square room with orange lines. It's a holodeck. Something we never saw in TOS. Now, it's funny, I hate getting hung up on things like this because it feels like I'm not normally the guy who does get hung up on things like this, but I am today. It does at times feel like these writers are lazy. Now, I know Robert Meyer Burnett made that argument last week regarding like, they're creatively bankrupt and blah, 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 and he just gets his drama. My problem is never when they borrow from relevant stuff in their era. My problem is when you have full body walking holograms like in Discovery Season 1, when you've never had anything remotely like that. When it's like you can't live in your own playground when it comes to the technology, and normally you do, but it's like you get bored. And I just don't understand what the issue is with just telling the story within the context of the universe you're in. You're doing a fine job. Strange New Worlds didn't need holodecks. Now, you could have easily said, oh, we're testing a form of this technology or whatever. It's just, I don't know. So then you get into the whole thing of it, and yes, it's a mystery that's framed around because La'an is the one who's doing it. La'an loves his mystery books of a specific type, and they combine this idea. There's a murder and that was a part of a sci-fi show, The Last Frontier, which is essentially a riff on Star Trek, the original series. And it's funny because they've borrowed Kirk as a character in this, though he is not actually in he is not Kirk. They borrowed Paul Wesley's image for use as a character because he's in the system in the transporter buffer.
Wrote the book on space, jurisdiction, and I am known for my diction.
I have an issue with that because it attacks a little bit of the So popularly, the way we've always understood the holodeck technology to work has been that holodecks are essentially a replicator meets transporter technology. I remember we're talking next gen because they didn't have replicators at this point. They had synthesizers, not the same thing. Though it is the precursor to the replicator. And in it, so let's say I'm in the holodeck in next gen, and I said, okay, I would like give me a Victorian room with a dining room table, and I want a full dinner spread and music playing. The transporter, having the patterns of all these items, creates in combination. So the table is real. The table's not a hologram table. The table is created the same way the replicator creates everything. A person who walks in, that's a hard light construct. Okay? So it's a different set of parameters. So the fact that they have so much of that same level of technology here, if you remember in TNG, the original the pilot, okay, Encounter at Farpoint, they made a point that having holodecks on starships was a new thing. That's 100 plus years, not 100 years, maybe it's like 80 years in the future, whatever. It's in the future though, far future. So for this technology to be so completely the same, okay? So that's my first big gripe. Comment below. Let me know what you think of that particular gripe. Second issue, when you finally have the technology up and running, so if you can get past that first issue, okay, let's get into the second issue. They're literally having all the same problems that made up and comprised all of the holodeck adventures of yore, from the Next Generation. Same exact ones. Why? So you're trying to tell me that from inception of this technology, we've known there are things about it that are not safe. See, it's one thing to say, okay, the technology is this way, blah, 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 you have a malfunction, you have whatever, and it became a one-off. Then it became another and another and another and another. By the end of the Next Generation era, I would have been like, why in life do we even have the holodecks anymore? Like, why do they exist? And then you get the logical conclusion, which is eventually the Doctor from Voyager, which is a hard light construct who has sentience and walks off the holodeck with an emitter. Yay, hologram people are now real. And that's the eventual evolution of this. But I feel like if we knew the problems now, it just creates anachronisms in the series that sometimes it's funny because there are things, and I know that I'm inconsistent because there are things that bother me and there are other things where I kind of go, whatever. And this bothered me only because it's such a departure, and this episode felt like lazy writing for me. Not to mention the fact that, again, let's go back to my original premise. What is this hard-on they have for, I don't know, Spock to have a hard-on? I don't need it. Can we get spend less time 90210ing me and more time giving me an actual sci-fi adventure show? Please. Anything else feels lazy. And you guys are not supposed to be lazy. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not a huge fan of this episode. I didn't hate it, but I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed seeing Paul Wesley do the greatest Shatner impression ever. I enjoyed everybody playing who they're supposed to be, relatively speaking, in the universe. You do notice conspicuously that there are a lot of women on this ship. I'm just saying. I loved everything about the mystery itself. I thought it was cool. I liked, again, got to get past all the holodeck stuff. I loved the fact that the computer used Spock as an unexpected person who was going to be he did it. Spoilers, he did it. But it wasn't him. The holodeck created him.
You're a hologram. You have been since the moment I walked into the holodeck. I asked the computer for a mystery made for me, and it gave me you because, well, it knew I'd never suspect him.
It felt very reminiscent of Data when he first asked the holodeck to create an enemy that was comparable to his intelligence.
Create an adversary capable of defeating Data.
Remember when he was Sherlock Holmes, what gave us Moriarty, okay? It's the same premise. So again, they're borrowing from better writing and better shows, but they're doing it badly, a little patchwork. This is the first episode that I think I've seen that made me think Robert Meyer Burnett has a point in some places. But at the end of the day, I still like the episode. I like what they're doing. I could have just lived with a little bit more. Can we come back to the show we're having? And a little less glitz and glamour and more fundamentals. It just felt like a lazy episode. I'm not going to call it a filler episode, but it certainly felt like a filler-ish episode. It was fillery. I'll go there with it. So, there you go. Now you know. If knowing's half the battle, you're halfway to being a know-it-all yourself. We'd love to know what your thoughts are. Do me a favor, subscribe to the channel so you can keep on being informed about all the fun things that happen in the show and whatnot, especially when our new episodes drop. But what is the Know-it-all Index for rating for this episode? I'll be honest. I wasn't impressed. I was a little bit bored at times. I liked some of the things they were doing. Overall, it's not bad, but it's not great. So I'm going to go with my classic on this one, Stan, if you're watching. I'm going to go with a 7 out of 10.
Can someone fix the chair, please? I can't work like open the door.
Yeah, this episode gets a 7 out of 10. It isn't bad. It's kind of mediocre in the story and plot department. And again, the anachronisms between Next Generation and Holodeck stuff sort of really detracted from it. And overall, I really wish they'd have done more with the ideas. And again, can we just get back to telling unique individualized adventures that take us within this universe? And I feel like, again, fun ideas. I feel like it would just come and get a little better. Let me know what you think in the comments. We'd absolutely love to find out your thoughts on this episode. Good, bad, ugly, and different. Just be polite. All right, guys. I'll talk to you again real soon. Hopefully next week with a better installment. Never forget, everyone loves a know-it-all. Bye, guys.